Alright, so in this part of the video we're going to open up Godot. I'm using Godot 4.3 right now and start ourselves a brand new blank project. So I'm just going to create it in my standard project folder and I'm going to call it Snowman Survivor. So basically in this part of the video we're going to set up a couple of things. We're going to set up our tile maps so we've got somewhere to walk around, and then we're going to try and do the 8 directions movement. So the tile maps, we're going to create a scene for the tile map. So just making a brand new 2D scene. I'm going to call this one level, and we're going to add a tile map to this. So I'm going to be adding in a child node. There is because I'm using the brand new Godot, there's a TileMapLayer. You can see that the old TileMap node has been deprecated, and now there's TileMapLayers. Now, because I've done this before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a node on top of as the top level parent for all of the different layers, because I know I'm going to need a background layer and I'm going to need some sort of foreground obstacles as well. So I'm just going to call this tile maps, and this is going to hold all my tile maps. That way it keeps things slightly more organized. So if I add myself this tile map layer in, you'll see that the tile map layer needs to be set up correctly so that we can start adding some tiles. As I mentioned in the last video, we're going to be using some of the assets from Kenny's website. The link will be in the description, but you can see it up the top here. So it's called Map Pack in Kenny. These amazing assets are so good for tutorials and for people who are learning, because you can get this for absolute free. I highly recommend, if you can donate to Kenny so they can keep making these amazing things. I put mine inside of my downloads folder, so I'm just going to extract it in the downloads folder, because I kind of don't need all of it. I'm just going to take the bits that I need. So the way it's packed away is there's a folder containing all of the things that you need, including the license in there. So to make life easy, I'm just going to basically just drag and drop it straight into my file system inside of Godot, and that should import absolutely everything. And I'm not going to muck around with import options. I'm just going to keep it really simple. So I'm assuming you are a beginner, so this may be the first time you've taken a look at this. So we're going to set this TileMapLayer up, and then we'll go from there. So the way that it works is that you'll need to create yourself a tile set for every single layer. So you can see on the right hand side here where it says tile set. I'm going to make this new tile set. When you've got the tile set, one of the little bugs I've noticed is that the tile set here has some settings. It doesn't automatically jump your view to the tile set, but we'll come to that in a second. I know for a fact that the tiles inside this asset are 64 pixels by 64 pixels. So I'm going to set those up straight away just so that I know it's all ready to go. And then when I go down to the tile set box down here, this is where I'm able to drop my tiles in. So I'm just going to go to the tile sheet folder within that Kenny asset and take the standard one into this box here. Now I've already set 64 by 64, so the automatic tiles will work perfectly for me. You can see now that all the tiles match perfectly, and I'm able to select the ones that I want. We could set physics up on this layer through this physics tab over here. The physics layers over here, but I don't need to do that right now because all of this isn't going to actually be colliding. And as I said, this is a beginner tutorial. I'm going to keep it really simple. To actually start drawing the tiles, drawing my world using these tiles, I will need to switch to the tile map option down here, and then I should be able to just pick the tiles that I want. Now in my synopsis I said it was going to be a desert a desert area with snowmen running around in it. So I've got my desert area here, and I'm just going to fill this tile map out so that I've got a nice big area around the origin to work with. Now I'm just going to use the flood fill for the center part here so that it covers all of that. Now the map itself is pretty simple, so if we want to add some of the nice looking cactuses and pyramids, etc. across this map to give us a little bit more to look at, we can easily add a new tile map layer. So what I'm going to do is just add a child node of TileMapLayer. I'm going to call this one foreground. I should probably actually rename the other one, so I'm going to say this is background, if I can spell. And the foreground one, we're going to create a new tile set. That seems really weird that you need to do this, but you just have to, because it copies a lot of the information from the other one if you were to duplicate. So in this new tile set, we'll set it up as we did before. We're going to say that we use exactly the same tile set, because if I just cancel that for now, I've actually set that up wrong, so we can Control Z this back out so that we can fix that properly. It's good for me to show you some mistakes. Honestly, I did that deliberately. So set this up correctly so that we can see that it's done right, and then just drag that into the tile set, and that should have set this up correctly. So I'm going to put some cactuses on, just make sure I go back to the actual paint rather than the flood fill, because the flood fill won't work when there's nothing to fill. And I'm just going to, around my map, just put a few cactuses, maybe a few of the pyramids, some rocks, just so that we know where we're going, and maybe a couple of whatever those things are. And we could keep going to try and make this a little bit more interesting. But that's the basics. We should have this set up now. So we've got the background and we've got the foreground tile maps. Together they work as a single tile map so that we have an area to move around in. So let's just save this now. It's a good idea to keep yourself organized. So I have this map pack in here, but I'm going to save, I'm going to create a new folder, this top button here. I'm going to call this folder scenes so that I can keep all my scenes organized, and that's going to save in there as level.tscn. We'll see that in the file system down here. Just make sure if we need to go back to this scene, we can just double click it and it'll bring this up. Alright, so now for the fun part, let's get the player in. So we're going to do this a different way to some of my other videos, where we're going to create the prefab first so that we're able to control the player independently of this scene rather than create it on this scene. So we're going to just get started on that. Click on New Scene, and then rather than create a 2D scene, we're going to use the character body node. So the character body 2D is the perfect one for controlling characters. When you've added that, a couple of things to add, so you'll see the warnings kind of tell you how to get things sorted out. So I'm going to add in the sprite so I can see what it is. So the sprite 2D first, click create, and then on that sprite I'm going to add in the actual sprite that I want. So where it says empty there, I'm going to go to load, go into the Kenny asset pack, into the PNGs, and then find the sprite that I'm after. I'm going to have the snowman as the enemy later on, but I'm going to use this little green guy as my main player sprite for now rather than draw one myself. So I did test this before and I didn't like that the player was a little bit big, so I'm going to set this sprite, I'm going to set its scale to 0.5 just because it looks a little bit better on the scene rather when you can see a bit more around it. So the Control S to save that. I'm going to save, I'm actually going to rename that because I don't want it to be character body 2D, so I'm going to call this player. And also, sorry, I should have done this before saving, but I also need to add the the collision shape as well. So you can see the warning still there. So I'm going to click Add Child Node, and I'm going to choose Collision Shape 2D. The collision shape has a warning. It's telling me I haven't set the collision shape up, so I'm going to go over to Shape on the right and choose a shape that I feel matches best, which is the Capsule 2D, and it fits perfectly. It can be adjusted if you use a different sprite, so you just use the handles to adjust it, but that's about right for me. So Control S to save. I'm going to save the player, and I'm going to leave it in this scenes folder and then click save. So I will now have 2 scenes in my scenes folder, the actual level that we will play, and then player.tscn, and I'm going to Control S to save that. The player will not move around just yet, so let's add him onto our level first up before we write the script for him. So currently the level right now has just got the tile map. So as a child of level, I'm going to instantiate that new scene, so the player scene. If you use this little chain thing, or you can do the chain at the top here, and then you can choose the other scenes that you want to add into the scene. So I'm going to choose the player and click open, and you'll see that it just pops itself in the middle. Now we're going to have to kind of like change a few things. So to change the player, rather than change it here, because you'll see this little clapperboard next to it, it's actually this open scene right now. So I'm saving this level because I had this highlighted. I'm going to click this little clapperboard, which opens my new player. You can jump between the tabs equally easily here. I'm going to need a camera as well, and it's going to be part of this player. So I'm going to add the child node of camera, because otherwise we ain't going to see anything. It's not going to be pointing at the right thing. And back to level again, and the changes should be reflected. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to play just this current scene, so this F6 or run current scene, and you should see that the player's in the middle. He doesn't move around because he doesn't have a script yet, so let's fix that. So I'm back in the player scene right now, and I'm going to add myself a script. I do like to be organized, so I'm going to leave the default template that it gives me, which is a platform controller. I'm going to leave that in because we can adjust this a little bit rather than start completely from scratch. I don't want it in the scenes folder. The script shouldn't be in the scenes folder, so I'm going to click on the folder, go up one level, so we're back into the same level, and make a new folder, and we're going to call this one scripts. Then I can put the player.gd script into there, and I'll feel a lot better about how organized this is. So I'm assuming that you're a fairly a beginner in Godot, so I'm going to go over some of the cool things about Godot GD script. So the script that it's given me extends from character body 2D. If you don't know this, the coolest thing is hitting Control and clicking on something like this character body 2D gives you the documentation, so you're able to read a little bit about how it works. The description tells us, well, there's actually some cool tutorials as well if you needed to do further, but the description tells you a little bit about it. Some of the cool variables that the character body 2D contains, some of the properties it contains, is things like velocity. So you can change this, and then when you call move and slide, which is the coolest function that it has, you will actually move around based on the velocity value, whatever that is. If we look back at our script again, so clicking up here for player.gd, you'll see that we have stuff in here that basically does the move and slide after it calculates some velocity. And what we're going to do is just adjust this so that we've got 8 directions movement rather than a slightly more complex platform controller. So looking at the script, I definitely don't need jump velocity. I can get rid of that. But I'm going to keep this speed variable, this constant, so I can come up and change this later on. I'm also not really caring about setting gravity, checking for jumps. I kind of do want direction, but I'm going to do it a different way. So I'm going to get rid of pretty much everything apart from this move and slide. And then we'll set ourselves up some of the input that was set up in the previous one, but I want my own actions. So heading on up to the project and project settings, if you go to input map, we can add new input actions here. So the 4 actions I want are up, I want down, I want left, and I want right. These now, you can set up the keys that you want to work with these actions. So if I click over on the plus next to the up, I'm going to press the W key for the up action, and it should automatically listen for that W key, and then you'll click OK. So you'll see now W is bound to the event for the up action. I'm going to set down as well. I'm going to try and get these right. So S for down, left should be the A key for me. I do like to use a WSAD, and right should be the D key, and then we say OK. So I can close those now, but we've set up, down, left and right, so we can use them inside of our script. So basic 8 directions movement's pretty easy. I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call it direction. Then I'm going to set this to be equal to this input class. The input class has this really cool thing called get vector. If I can spell it correctly, so the get vector isn't the same as get axis. Axis would be right and left. Get vector, if you look it up in the help by control clicking, allows me to find to use 4 different values. So what it actually returns is a vector, an x and a y component based on these inputs. So you can see from the little help that's popped up, the negative x, I believe that's left, then a comma, and then the positive x, that should be right, and then a comma. Then there is the negative y, so that's basically the up, so I'm going to type in up, and then the last one is the positive y, so that should be down. So all that's doing right now is using these to return a vector, so an x and a y component, and stores it in vector. The last thing we need to do is to just say that we want the velocity, so that's that magic value within character body 2D. We're going to set it with the equal sign to be equal to this direction that we've just calculated from input, and we're going to multiply it by speed so that we are able to move a little bit faster than 1. This only returns values in -1 and 1. And I'm now going to test this. So testing it, I do want to just test this level, so back on 2D. So I've saved the player, so all those changes to the script and everything should be saved. And now by running this current scene, I should be able to move around based on my key presses. So there we have it. We have ourselves set up this scene, and it's a tile map with basic 8 directions movement. In the next one, we're going to be adding in the enemies, so stay tuned for that.